Hello and welcome back to another episode of Time for You. I'm Shailia, and I'm with my beautiful friend and colleague, Leah Wernli.
Hi.
And guys, if you're new to the podcast and you didn't know, I'm an American abroad in Germany. Leah's a Swiss Heidi from the mountains who landed up in Zurich. And we hope, though, that this is a universal conversation that everyone would
Mhm.
be loving to hear. Leah and I like to hang out and talk. It's our fun friend time that you get to listen in
Mhm.
on. And Leah, I just wanted to share some of the stuff that I've been experiencing the last couple of weeks and months
Mhm.
with you in 3P in Africa.
Yes,
And
please.
one of the things on my mind today was to talk with you about kind of how the projects are set up.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
on the last podcast episode, we were talking about like what's the vision for your life. And this set of projects also has a vision and a very clear direction
Mhm.
that it's going in. And the way that vision is set up really defines how things happen there.
Mm.
And it really is interesting to me to see how that clear vision unfolds every day in the most daily, simple of ways. And one of the things that, well, so Harry Dubritsky,
Mhm.
he's the force behind the 25
Mm.
projects in Uganda and Kenya, and now they're going into the Congo. And he has some things that he was telling me when we first kind of accidentally became a team. Like I never said to him, I want to be on the team. He never said, will you be on the team?
But you wanted to be on exactly this kind of
Yeah.
work and team. I
Yeah.
remember that. Just
Yeah.
about visioning and
Yeah.
manifesting and things coming into the world. You
Ye-
wanted to
Yeah.
work in this kind of setting and
I totally did. And I had no idea what and how and anything. And then it just kind of unfolded. And so Harry and I got on a call and he said to me, Shelley, I want you to know we only have a couple of guiding, what do you say in the English? I'm trying to think guidelines for the projects.
mm. Oh, ah, guideline. Mm-hmm.
Guidelines. So one is we're working to alleviate human suffering. That is the big vision.
Alleviate means to lessen,
Yeah,
to
alleviate. Well,
make it
actually,
less.
alleviate actually means to completely rid something. So if you alleviate pain, you're getting rid of pain. Alleviate human
Yes.
suffering. Interestingly enough, in conversations with Harry over the last couple of months, I've come to understand that he really sees human suffering as a spiritual manifestation. That's not a bad thing that the suffering happens. It's just part of all of life and the energy of life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so saying we're going to alleviate it has a different meaning for me now than we were first
Mm.
talking about, and it really
Mm.
resonates with me because sometimes suffering can be something that is a catalyst for a
Yes.
really positive change or spiritual growth in our life.
Mm.
So, but still, it's the mission of the project to alleviate human suffering. The second thing he said to me was, anything you want to do it if it's coming from the spirit moving you. I don't know
Mm.
if he said it that way, but it was just this kind of like, if the spirit's moving you to do it, go with it. This is a
Mm.
spiritual movement. And if it's not fun, we're not doing it. Which
Mm.
which sounds really,
I love
really,
that.
it's yeah, it's like he's 81 years old or 80 years old, I think you're yeah, 80, 79 or 80. And he's like, I don't have a lot of time left here on this planet. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Uh, which sounds crazy too, because we're working in refugee camps
I
and
know.
in orphanages and vulnerable communities. But I guarantee you, we have fun every day on every one of
Yeah.
the projects. It's part of the vision. The next thing he said to me was something like, what we're doing here is we are making people our colleagues. So Harry is really clear around this isn't about we're here and you're here. It's this understanding that any single person that we have any contact with can jump above our level of consciousness at any
Totally.
moment. And it is our job and our mandate to make sure that happens as best we can.
Yeah.
So it's really this empowering way of being in the projects, right? Because we're moving people up to our level and hopefully above ourselves as quickly as possible, which in Africa is easy because the people are already so spiritually grounded. The spirit moves through them all the time. They're just like missing this little piece of the role of thought and
Yeah.
the mental well-being understanding. So that's something he told me, which really kind of like really clearly got me focused on what we're doing here.
I love that.
And then another thing that I started to hear people say, I don't think Harry said it to me that day, but I started to hear everybody in the project saying it every time I would come into contact with someone new. And they would say, when we share, we grow. And it's a constant statement. When we share, we grow. When we share, we grow. And I started thinking about this morning and how it's starting to unfold within me, this hearing this all the time. Because you have to imagine that these projects are zero monetarily focused. We do raise donations, obviously, because we have needs that people in the refugee camps need to get from point A to point B. And,
Mm,
and if that village is 40 kilometers away, they need some sort of resources to
mm,
get there, right? So
yeah.
they can't take part in the classes unless they have Wi-Fi, which
Mm,
cost a lot of money for them. So we need to have resources for them to get
mm,
online so we can even share the teaching
mm-hmm,
because we're not in Africa, we're online
mm,
teaching. So, but other than that, there's no we're trying to make money here. It's none of that. It's zero. So everything that we do is completely free of monetary gain. So it's like the only probably project in my life where I've ever had that experience where it's completely free of that. And the only thing that is driving people is these things I was telling you about,
yeah.
alleviating human suffering, bringing people up to the level of our colleagues. And the idea is that there's a great reward in the sharing. So it's not just you're sharing with others to alleviate their suffering, but it's the idea that every single time you show up and you share something from your wisdom, you're growing as a spiritual entity, as a human being.
Yeah.
And it is the most fun and empowering way of being in the world.
Mm,
And I think you and I can relate to it anyway because we know how that feels when we share with our coaching
mm,
clients, how we grow. We know when we show up for a podcast, we're going to
mm,
hear something
mm-hmm,
that's going to strengthen our
mm-hmm,
grounding or trigger a new thought, a fresh
mm-hmm.
thinking. But
Totally.
but I just wanted to share that today for this podcast because I had a thought while I was on the balcony before, just taking a little break while you were off. I think so many people are out in the world and they're kind of wondering how can we make a better world? Like we've got so much things going on, whether it's in the Middle East, in the Ukraine, just conflicts, wars, the political divide in the US that's happening, just to say a few that are kind of present to me
Obvious.
being
Yeah,
being a
totally.
being a Western
Mm-hmm,
person living in Europe. And I think we sometimes feel a little bit machtlos, also ohnmächtig oder
mm-hmm,
machtlos. I don't know the
mm-hmm.
word.
Powerless or
Powerless. Yeah. And what I've started to see in Africa is how this simple idea of when we share, we grow, when
mm,
we live that, it spreads like wildfire
mm,
because the next person who
mm-hmm,
who hears something and it's bettered their life, their suffering has reduced, and they hear that when we share, we grow. They go and share it with
mm,
somebody else. They alleviate someone else's suffering. They grow as a human being and
mm.
a spiritual being. And I just had the feeling today on the balcony that one statement could change the entire world if
Yes.
if we were to live it.
I love that so much, Shelia.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a very natural thing
Yeah.
in a way. I couldn't not share when I saw it.
Yeah.
My mentee, you know who?
Yes.
She starts to share it all over the place, and the people start to tell her that she could become a coach and a youth coach and a kids coach, and
Mm.
she tells the people how the Schneekugel, the snow globe works, and just from
Mm.
living, seeing, change the huge change that it made on her life. So I just love that so much. But back to that
No,
thing
stay,
is
stay.
I I I really I so can relate to that. And it's a bit funny, guys, that Shelly and myself we reversed the places at the moment.
Yeah.
I I I worked a lot with like youth and really in very, very difficult situations and all of that. And I still do. That's just the part I can't and do not talk about here because it's confidentiality in a lot of cases. So I'm deep into the this kind of work too. And it just it 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 touches me so much how it touches you and
Mm.
and like I just feel that life and love is moving you
Yeah.
in that direction, and it's it's another I don't know, it's just bigger than us.
Mm.
It's bigger than us, and but I what I always want to say here, but it's not better than any kind of work that you out there or we could do.
No.
And it's also not better if it's not paid. It's just Shelia or myself, we've been moved to work with youth or with in Africa, or that that wasn't like only a conscious choice.
No.
So nothing is better or how do you say it? In religions there is this not being a saint, but you know what I mean? This
Yeah.
it's so good work, and good to do good work is better than to do other work. And I think it's very important to know everything you do from your heart and as a decent human, and try to be a decent human in a bit effed up world sometimes
Yeah.
is amazing. So but I love it, and I love how it spreads, and it's just what I see with the teenagers as well. It's so they don't think about it, they just tell you, you don't know that, I mean, look, it's like that, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's your thinking, and now you know, and if you know that, you don't punch. And she was very angry, one of my mentees one day, and I was like, "Oh, did you go out? And what happened?" Like before it was punching and certain stuff. And she was like, "I mean, Leah, what do you think? I would never punch again. I know I have to calm down first." And it's so this obvious it
Yeah.
when you see it. And what I love in what you're talking as well is this, it doesn't need that much.
Mm-mm.
It we think it needs like insights and whatever, but it's just like, oh yeah. And then growing with what you've seen in daily life, in doing whatever you do. I share it at the bakery, I share it in the coffee shop, I share it all the effing time because it's just so freeing and obvious and helpful and a way of
Mm,
suddenly it becomes a way of being.
yeah.
And it's a lot easier than we think. And this is so hopeful in what you are sharing. So
Mm,
it's hopeful that it spreads on a whole continent.
yeah.
And it's hopeful to see, hey, just share whatever the heck you've seen.
Oh gosh.
It's just go with that and be in the world. All of us, all of you. Hmm.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, Leah, because in Africa, we don't we don't talk about the three principles in the classic way. It's very rarely are mind, consciousness, and thought ever even mentioned. And we talk about love. We talk about loving yourself and loving your neighbors, you know? We talk about forgiving yourself and forgiving others because there are a lot of bad things that have happened to people from wars and conflicts and things like that. And I would pick up what you said and I would expand it and I would say, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter if you are a baker, if you are a homemaker, um, you've seen something good in your life. You've got things that are good that you can share with others. If it's a smile, it
Yes.
doesn't matter. Whatever is good within you,
Yeah.
if you share it, you will grow.
Yes.
And I know it's for you, obviously, because Leah is, of all the people I know, she shares really literally her insights and her understanding with
The
everyone,
police or
the police, the grocer, the thrift store lady. I don't do that. Well, my thing that was for me the big thing when I stopped suffering was just becoming alive again. Just
mm,
being in life again instead of in my head was so important to me.
mm,
And that was great. And I did share in that time.
hmm
I obviously did, but it's a helpful reminder for me because I tend to keep things to
mm,
myself. I more have to push myself
hmm
to share stuff. And yeah, so I love the daily reminders. If I share a little thing with
hmm
Martha on WhatsApp and she sees everything I say as teachings, even though I'm teaching nothing, I'm just being her
mm,
friend. And she'll be like, "Thanks for that teaching, sis." Then she'll write, "When we share, we grow." And I'm
mm,
like, "Yeah, we do. We
mm,
really do." And
mm.
yeah, it's just beautiful.
And hey, guys out there, I mean, we do that, and I mean, obviously, it's very egoistic of Shailia and myself. So it's not really work that we hang out and share with you guys as well. But maybe we could raise something together for Africa. That would be very, very cool as a collective, like the podcast crew and listeners around time for you. So if you feel drawn, and that just came very um, natural. We didn't plan that, but I think that would be extremely cool just to donate whatever you could spare, like a coffee or a lunch or uh,
Mm,
a dinner or whatever is in for your pocket the right thing. That would
yeah.
be highly, highly appreciated. So we will
No,
put the donation link
link.
in the show notes. So
Yeah.
let's do that, like for Christmas and for just today and for
Yeah.
all of us, for
Oh,
them.
thank you for saying that, Leah. I sometimes feel a little bit awkward about like mentioning that, but it's so needed. Like that just as a simple example, this week on a Friday, I'm meeting with two clients and Martha from Kenya is joining us.
Mm,
And she almost couldn't join us on Friday because she doesn't have enough
mm,
Wi-Fi. And we got so lucky that a donation came in today that
mm,
she'll be able to take part on Friday.
mm,
We wouldn't have been able to share with her
mm,
otherwise.
mhm.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
really, really cool. Really cool.
yes, let's
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Thanks.
So give me the donation link as well. I've got an idea. I will
Okay.
share it with a group
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay. I will do that. I will do that. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, Leah, because it's just so inspiring to me. And I also wanted to kind of piggyback on the last episode because I wanted to, just say to you, I do see value in a vision. It really, especially in a group,
Yeah,
not
I
even for your
know. I
personal
know.
self. You know what I
I
mean?
I totally that did like shine when you
Yeah.
said it. I was like, I remember Jamie, for example, Smart. He always comes from his vision of one part of his vision is that no kid will being born to parents who do not know the the principles,
Yeah.
for example. So and to move with that, it takes the personal thing also a bit out of your way to being moved by together and going together in a direction. Yeah.
It does. And again, that's not something that's natural for me.
Hmm.
I'm not a person who naturally just has a vision for my life, or it's not something that I
Hmm.
think about or focus on.
Hmm.
And it was one of those moments when Harry shared that vision with me that I realized how it gathers us together in a
Mm.
and points us in a common
Yeah,
direction. And it changes the way that we show up as a collective, you know?
totally. And maybe that's the transfer as well. Even like the share, like grow when we share, that's just amazing. I think we all could go out today and share if we feel drawn to and to really think about what is needed maybe in a family or I just remembered classrooms. I was a special needs teacher and that was wild sometimes.
Yeah.
And I remember that I did put a lot of thinking, but like calm, clear thinking before, like, what do I want? What do I need? What are the guidelines that are really important? Because those kids, they couldn't behave the way we wanted them to behave. So it was not like you have to behave. It was one thing was always you always say sorry. We always go out of the room um and when we said sorry. If something happens, it will happen, that's fine. But we will come together at the end and say sorry. So
Yeah.
I just that just came to mind like one thing.
Yeah.
And and to just to feel into that so we don't have to run around and chase all the things we think we need or think we want or think are important to the what is really what what do we really want and like
Yeah.
this fun that I love the fun part in
Mm,
what Harry is saying and also the being eye sight, like
eye level.
really eye level
Yeah.
and even more.
Yeah.
Just to yeah, to feel into that. What is relevant? What comes to mind?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Ah, so exciting, Leah. Yeah. So, okay, we're going to wrap up this episode, and thanks just for listening in and being a part of our day. And we hope you had a beautiful time for yourself to connect with your love and presence and well-being. If something touched you today, we're super happy, and we would say share it with others. Um,
Yes.
let them know about this podcast, and yeah, share the love in this way. If it's helping you to have a better day, be a better person, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
we just enjoy so much hanging out with you. So see you on the next episode.
Bye.